Good morning, and you are now on our group session. We welcome you from everywhere. We will begin in just a moment. We're going to begin in just one moment. We are going to start momentarily. Everyone is invited to our group session. Just so that you know, we are available for you at any time. So, if you'd like to join with us, you may. We'd love to have you. And we're on right now. We are live. And this is our group session number 2. And we are here. If you are able to click on, we'll always be here. And we're going to share it with our surrounding people. Just 1 minute. We're here with you, and we're going to share it. And there we are. welcome as we are in group 2 of our group session. This is a way for you all to get to know one another, whether you do so virtually or come in live. Here's what I prefer, and I'll tell you in just a moment. I would prefer that you all, if you are local, to come in directly so that you get used to our building. And if you are, for any reason, coming in virtually, whether you're around town, around surrounding community, or far apart, virtual access will be given to you just by your clicking on to our link. As we've told you that we are talking about so many things that nobody dares to talk about. And if you do, wanting to get you the help that you may need. Today is Friday, and what we call it on our podcast is Finally Friday. But this is more of an open discussion. If you find out that you are looking at the front screen, that is our healing center. And our healing center, ladies and gentlemen, is all about you. Making you feel better than you did. Having you come, having you talk, and whether you are here or not, the healing center is still going to be as is. We encourage all of you to come. May you come, may you get to know how to connect, how to access, and how to talk about your feelings. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, our lines are open. I forgot to say that. And if you can hear me, please let me know. Please raise your hand or just simply write, you can hear. Whichever you prefer. We're going to show you how we've worked over the past years. That's what we're going to show you. We're going to show you how we've done. Okay, we've taken subjects and we have learned to open air them. And what do I mean when I say open air? I mean that we are talking about them openly. We are making that our concern to get to know. By now you're probably wondering what Group 2 is all about. So if you've got a notepad, if you've got notepads if you've got a tablet, could you please, you can even record the class. You may record the class as you wish. Today, I felt it would be good for us to talk about depression. How many of you have ever been depressed? You know, depression affects so many people. Maybe you know someone who's depressed. And if you've never been depressed, which I don't believe that there's anybody here, there, or anywhere that has never experienced depression. And I want you to be able to think about the time when you were depressed. And maybe you can get a face to depression. Here's what I'd like you to do, is to think about areas in your life of your personal happiness. You know, people do all kind of self-help. And what does that look like? Now, I want you to think about some questions. And here are the following when you think about your personal self. I'm going to ask you a set of questions that only you know. And I'll be doing the test as well. And if you feel like you don't want to take the test, you don't have to. But this is a test for you. It goes nowhere. The first question is, am I willing to stand up for myself and share my thoughts and opinion? Do you strongly agree? Agree? Are you neutral? Do you disagree? Or do you strongly disagree? Those are going to be the choices. I am willing to stand up for myself and share my thoughts and opinions. I said I strongly agree. Next one is, I create narratives about myself that are not true. Because sometimes we can do that, and as we do that, ladies and gentlemen, it could be our truth. But what is your truth? Do you create narratives about yourself that are not true? You say things about yourself that aren't true? Agreed for me. How about this one? I have rhythms and routines throughout my week that I enjoy. Now, there are 5 days in a week. And what I want you to do is recognize that as you have 5 days during a week time, how many days do you really have routines that you really enjoy? You know, some of us pick up, drop off our kids to school, soccer practice, any kind of practice, tutoring, daycare. But then after that's all done, things, even that can be something that you enjoy. So I have rhythms and routines throughout my week that I enjoy. I have to say strongly agree. And I'll tell you why, because I go to my spiritual meetings and I enjoy doing that. That uplifts me and being fed spiritually because I am a spiritual person. What about you? Here's another one. My emotions fight to control my life. My emotions fight to control my life. Now, in order to answer that, you might want to listen to when we were in group number 1. That's posted for you. And there will be some times where you will see me instead of just our sign, the Healing Center group session. You will be able to see me. So I'm not going to be distant from you. But I am wearing the same dress I had on yesterday, or not yesterday, but last Friday in group 1. So what about your emotions fighting to control your life? Your emotions, if you're sad, you stay in bed the majority of the time, and you just let that be a daily thing that you do. Or if it's raining and you say, well, I really don't want to be in the rain. Because some people love to be out in every kind of weather. So do your emotions fight to control your life? If you're angry, you go nowhere. If you're happy, you do. How are you feeling about that? And you may call in if you wish. So do you strongly agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree? So your emotions fight to control your life. You know, I could be really, really upset with someone or something, and I'm still going to go. So I disagree. I learned that I am in control of my life. And we are talking about depression. We have a few more. I make well-informed and wise decisions. How many of you can say that? I make well-informed and wise decisions. And here's where the emotions play. Sometimes my decisions are based upon emotion. Not all the time, but sometimes if my heart is attached to something, I may not make the best decision. But I do like to be well informed. So I would have to disagree, because sometimes my decisions, when I look at them on a whole, 9 times out of 10, they're based on emotion, even if I'm well informed. The next one, I am attuned to both my strengths and my weaknesses. I'm attuned to both my strengths and my weaknesses. Gaining access to yourself. How many of you gain access to yourself? You know your strengths. You know what your weaknesses are. I would have to strongly agree. How's everybody doing? Now we're going to talk about relationships. Remember, our discussion is depression. When we do these assessments, ladies and gentlemen, these assessments are your own personals. And in your sessions with me, I have you work on the board a lot, whiteboard, so that you can easily see yourself. And I make friends easily. Do you strongly agree? Do you agree? Are you neutral? Do you disagree? Or strongly disagree? I make friends. I agree. And we will do some writing, okay, as you all are doing or have been instructed to do, okay, and I'm going to use green because green is all about mental health and emotional health, okay, and don't be hard on yourself, please and thank you. And I'm going to ask you another question, okay? Self-assessment, depression. So we are talking about group 2. I was going to start out with something else, but I think you being able to evaluate yourself is really important. So here's another one. I'm good at setting and maintaining boundaries in my relationships. I'm good at setting and maintaining boundaries in my relationships. Do you strongly agree? Are you neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree? I used to have a wall up within myself because I was experiencing depression and self-destructive. So it was hard to let the right people in. So I didn't really think about safe boundary. I always had the wall up, but now as I've worked through my healing process, I would have to say that I maintain boundaries. Next, I currently model the qualities I look for in a romantic relationship. Remember that thing I said about spirituality? Now I've set boundaries, and in my relationship I would want someone that is spiritual. And when I say spiritual, that means someone who thinks that spiritual things should come first among all other things. So I can look at myself and I can safely say, strongly agree. Here's one. I'm open to my friends and family giving me hard feedback I need to hear. You know, it to come from a good place. Don't be critical because you gotta find something wrong in what I do. Don't be critical because you wished you were doing it, so you're gonna give me a hard time. But honestly, tell me because you're for me and you want me to win. So I am open. I would have to say I agree. Why am I agreeable to you giving me feedback? Because I want to hear, but I want you to tell me from a good place in your heart. I want to know when you're speaking to me that you have my best interest at heart. So I would have to agree. My friends are living lives that are moving in the same direction I desire to go. Some yes and some no. I would have to disagree somewhat. Sometimes it feels as if, and that's with all of us, we may not know in which direction we're going, and we always need someone to tell us, someone that's got to tell us, because if they don't tell us, we don't know. So I'd like to think about myself in that I'm a person that knows which direction I want to go, and if you can't keep up, well, I'm going to keep moving forward. Did I say that enough? Here's one. I have unresolved regrets relating to my current relationships. I don't have any regrets. What about you guys? If you can hear me okay, just write, you can hear me. If you can't, that's okay too. We are moving on. And this week in group, we are talking about depression. We're going to put a face on that. You know, money is something that people talk about or believe or have illusions, as you see on Instagram, but I'm for real about the status of money or a lack thereof. So here are some questions. When it comes to making decisions, money is the first thing I consider. I disagree. And let me tell you why. I made a decision to have a healing center, and I make other decisions. Like if I want to go somewhere, I will not be defined by how much money I have or don't have. I will just know that my decisions, I can choose to make things happen. And I mean that in a good way. I think about not money as if I don't have it, I can't do it, because there's always plan B. You know, like if I want to go to Disneyland costs money. So I can go to downtown Disney. You see how that works? Or like with the healing center. Yes, it costs money to rent the building, but the thought of gathering and putting things together, although we have a GoFundMe, we have a donation arrangement, and it is free to the community. And there will be some classes that you do have to pay for. This one is not such a class, but we ask that you consider donations because every month we think about our expenditures and we think about the costs that we've spent. But if I don't have money, I'm still going to have the healing center. My spending and my saving habits align with my long-term financial goals. How many of us spend more money than we actually really physically have? A lot of us do, yeah. We spend more money than we actually have. I think that's true with all of us. But then when we think about our spending and our saving, when I know I need to save, I do. And I will always have a plan B. There are some months that there are more expenses than there are others. So there was a time where I just spent and didn't think about it, but after you are broke for so long, you start to realign yourself to think, my mother always told me to save for a rainy day. When I was a very young girl, I used to think, why do I have to save? It's not raining. I literally took that face value. But then I came to understand that it's always good to save something. And the next question. I have a clear picture of my financial health. I'm going to say disagree. Because I will still make a decision. But I also know now that I have to think about, and again, this is not acting on emotion. You got to think about that day. What if I don't have this to cover? And many of us still financially struggle. We still do. We don't have enough money to pay this or that. Even in a two-couple or a one-couple home where there's mother and fathers, you will still have the same thing. Because the cost of living is really getting up there. I give generously to things, people, and causes that I care about. I'm going to say that again. I give generously to things, people, and causes that I care about. I give generously, and I'll tell you what. I give money away even when I have more money than what I'm used to. I'd rather give it all away. That's the person that I am. And not because I need to buy anybody. It's because the money is financial means, and sometimes people have less than I do, but I am not selfish with my money. So I have to agree that I give money to things and people that I care about. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the Healing Center, and I want to make you aware that we ask you for donations not because we can't afford to go out and get what we need. I'm asking for donations because it helps so much. I want you to feel inviting when you walk into the Healing Center. I want you to have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. I don't want it to be stale and cold. Things we need, material, art supplies, anything that you can donate, because I do care about this Healing Center. And when we say free, it is going to be to you, which means that you can come in, you can come to the classes, you can participate. But with the participation, I want you to think about the donations. I want you to appreciate that in this valley that we live in, we have a community center that's a real healing center. It's like coming in and having access and gaining access to something that's been on your mind, something that's been on your heart, your mental, your emotional state, and you get to come in. We're no doctors. I'm no doctor, but I am a professional, certified life and wellness coach. I want you to know that the Healing Center is something that I care about, and give consideration to any kind of donations. We hear the word free and we run with it, and then we try to say, oh, that's false advertisement. When we say program is free, it is free for those of you who want to come in and want to get involved and want to be a part of. And as you do that, we want you to consider being able to give back in whatever ways you choose that. Gift cards, items, doesn't necessarily have to be money, but we do appreciate that in any donations we're asking for. We let you see the expenditures at the end of the month. It's never recorded, but it is there for you so that you know this is what we did. And we appreciate all donations. If you care to donate, you can look at our GoFundMe. It is all in the name of this cause of the Healing Center, as well as our Cashapp that is vibetalkfacethelion. And that's the name of our podcast, in case you didn't know. So, have you learned something about you? Or not? Those are a few things that we can really look at. Your values in your life. Have you had established values? Do you believe in those values? Are you willing to put aside or sacrifice the things that you really care about, or sacrifice things that are less important for for the more important things. What do people say about you? Does that make you depressed? If you were able to attend your own funeral, would you be proud of what people said about you and how you lived your life? And what do you have that you can contribute toward the world? Are you hopeful about the future? I know that I am. What is true about you? Are you interested in God or religion? And so you don't need any changes in your life? You're neutral about God, but you'd like to make better decisions in your life? You want to learn more about how Jesus can make life better? Or do you consider yourself just to be Christian and you're looking to grow in your faith? You know, I do know my life's purpose. And I am a Bible reader. And as one of Jehovah's Witnesses that I'm proud to be of, I certainly understand my purpose in life. Nobody has to tell me. I have eyes that can read for myself. And with that, I say, I'm aware of who Jehovah God is, and He's so awesome. And every day, I need reminders to improve in my life. When I say improvement, I'm not talking about perfection, because none of us are perfect. That's why we are here at the Healing Center. I want you to be able to look at yourself and ask yourself, are you stuck? Do you feel stuck? We are talking about depression. And we're going to take just a small break. Just a small break, okay? And if you have any questions, you can text or ask or call in. This is not a test that helps you to be hard on yourself. This is a test to help you to get your thoughts together. The nice thing about the Healing Center is that the Healing Center is able to help you see where you are. That's why I like the whiteboards. You know, as an educator, we started to use the whiteboards. I know when I first started teaching in early development, the whiteboard was there, and I loved using it. And from this very day, I use it in the Healing Center, and you will learn how to do that as well. Depression, persistence in low moods, loss of interest, of activities, of life. How many of you have really been there? You have difficulty, perhaps. These are not definite, but these could be for you. Keep in mind, I'm not a doctor. I'm a certified wellness and life coach. Sleep disturbance, fatigue, worthlessness, thoughts of suicide. By the way, the number that I want you to think about, if you're ever feeling that way, okay, and we're going to write it down because this is really important. You know how they used to give you the long number? We're going to give you a number that's a short number, okay? And that number is 988. 988. A suicide hotline and crises. Never take for granted someone that may be feeling this way. The number is 988. And it's in the comments. I want you to really think about the help that is available to you and someone that you may know. Suicide can look like a lot of things. In the medical type of things, there could be clinical depression, persistent depression, bipolar, postpartum depression. There are so many groups of suicide. We want you to know that depression, we were talking about depression after I finished with the statement of suicide and crises hotline. When you're feeling like you just are overly saddened, persistent, and then you stop living. How do I know? Because I was there, dealing with depression. I used to cry and I didn't know why I was crying. I just felt like I didn't want to be here anymore. And I am so thankful because I had a good support team of friends, or a friend that wanted me to live. But I had to want that for myself. When you're feeling depression, that persistent sadness, hopelessness, how do you get help? If you were listening, we told you. The Healing Center is not a clinic, so categorically it cannot be titled as a clinic. We are not a medical facility. We are, however, a group support of getting back on track, getting into the healing, and talking about our experience of healing. I am allowed to sit with you as a group, talk in a group, or have a one-on-one conversation session, and do things that will heal or help towards your depression, or you're feeling like you just don't want to go on. How do we do it? We completely talk it out. We completely ask you how you're feeling. I don't want you to look at this as a class. I want you to look at it as something that is a center that is dedicated to people who feel this loss of happiness, loss of normal day-to-day living, loss of purpose, depression. It can look like anyone that is in this room or anyone that is outside of this room. Depression looks like you, me, normal, lawyers, police, doctors, neighbors, mailmen, firefighters. Depression fits every person living and breathing. So it's nothing that you say, I know a depressed person when I see a depressed person. Because the very person that you are talking about, or the very person that you are talking with, could be depressed, and you not even know it. Because who's going to tell you? You are to discover that. You are to discover your purpose, and that is what the Healing Center is all about. Anyone sitting in these chairs, anyone that's out there can fit depression. We are no doctors, and I ask that if you have been feeling like this, please seek medical help. If you come to the Healing Center and you say, I'm overwhelmingly depressed, I'm going to ask you the first question, have you sought medical help? We've talked about areas of depression. When we're feeling depressed, what triggers that? How many of you have ever thought about what it may trigger? Depression could be triggered by many things. It could be a situation. It could be a chemical imbalance. There is a lot of combinations. Loss of job, money worries. That's why we took that test, because some of those questions will trigger to see if you are feeling hopeless. And if you are, I ask that you call in or talk to me after this group. Different causes of depression. How do we cope? How do we cope? How did I cope? Because I just didn't want to be here anymore. And when people look at me, they can't believe that story, but I did not want to be here anymore. And there was no talking to me. I was going to find a way to get out, because I hated being here. Until that one day when I was able to meet someone that knew that I had purpose in life. I couldn't see it, but they could. Some of you may wonder why butterflies are all over this room. You know, we are fragile like butterflies, and I only want to say this, is that when you look at a butterfly, you notice the beauty of the wings, the beauty of their flight. The butterfly has no idea that its is fragile and purposeful. How do we cope? See, that's what you come here for. That's why it's the Healing Center. The Healing Center helps you to be able to face the challenge of depression. And so we have the one-on-one discussions, the group discussions. We have our new exercise in motion classes. I had someone ask me just yesterday if our classes had gym equipment. We are not a gym. We are a focus group, and you can come to our exercise classes. It's all about movement. My instructor is my niece. She's doing that. And those are things that you can do. That class is not free. It's $10 per person. We have session 1 and 2. If you have $10 and you want to have that $10 for the one session, it pays for one session. If you have $10, an extra $20, and you want to do session number 2, they're 45 minutes long. And believe me, you'll get your money's worth. And if you just want to make a donation toward the classes, you're welcome to do that. So you have 2 options. You can pay for the class, or you can give a donation. Sometimes when we're depressed, we want to cover the pain. We don't want that pain anymore. I think about the people that have overdosed. And everyone doesn't fit the same standard. Because overdose can be for a lot of reasons. But when people use drugs, it's often to cover up pain. And the only real way to recover is to face that pain. That's real recovery. And that's what we do here. So if you're having any type of recovery issues and you need to have one-on-one sessions, that's why it's Vibe Talk. We'd like you to come in and talk about how you feel. Those are some of the things. What do we say to people that are depressed? What have you said to people that are depressed? Did you say something like, you wouldn't be this way if you're not trying hard because you're acting as if trying is pointless? Well, I think, and I know, will you just snap out of it? You really gotta change your life because I find purpose in life. Those are the things not to say. What can we do? What can we do? Love writing on the board. What can I do? What can you do? since this is a group session, you can listen. And when you listen to something, do you do it intently or do you do it with, you've got 5 minutes, or I've got 5 minutes? No, you listen with your understanding. Listen with understanding. Don't act as if depression is unheard of, or how could you feel this way? You don't have to be depressed. I said, listen with understanding. Encourage. How many of you like encouragement? I do. I love it when somebody encourages me. And that's what happened with me. The person that came to help me when I wanted to really take my life encouraged me. Encouraged me. Studied the Bible with me. Now, many of you may not want to study the Bible. Many of you may not understand what the Bible has to say. We're all going to have our way of how we can conquer depression. That was one way to help myself to understand that life was worth living. Because God, Jehovah God, cared about me. Positive reinforcement. Every time I wanted to be in the bed, she made me get out of that bed. How did she do that? Because I would be in a darkened room. And this is why I like light so much. If you're in a dark house, that contributes towards your being depressed, believe it or not. Let light in. Let there be light. Opening the curtains and gradually getting me out of that bed. Until one day, after she did that for so long, she said, how about we do this? How about we do that? Getting me interested in what is called life. Positive reinforcements without having to say, see, I told you life was good. I started to experience it for myself. And then having me not only talk out my feelings with her, but if it was bad enough, to talk with a professional. Seek help if you need help. Did you guys all hear me? Seek help if you need help. When people are depressed, I want you to remember something, and I can speak from experience. Sometimes when they're feeling like that, they only see what they see. I only saw what I saw. Nobody could say anything because those are walls that you must skillfully and gently learn to break through. Just remember that when someone is depressed, it's hard for them Don't compare yesterday with what is going on today. Move forward. Don't take it personal if someone is dealing with depression. Don't lash out at them. Don't say hurtful things. Be understanding. Because that's what I experienced. Someone who was understanding. Someone who didn't say, I'm sick of you being depressed, but trying to help me through. They didn't push me, but we would have little pep talks. They never said to me, you're depressed again. They just wanted to help me live again. Sometimes the mood swings. We used to talk about my mood swings all the time because boy, did I have them. Am I still moody? Yes. But I'll take the moodiness any day besides the depression. You know, people that experience depression, they just want to stop the pain. And that's what I discovered about myself. I didn't want to die. I just wanted to live. I'm going to say that one more time. I didn't want to die. I wanted to live. I put that as a question mark. Because you know what some of us do? We say that person has so much to live for. Don't we say that? You know, people that are celebrities and they kill themselves or they accidentally make overdose. They were in pain when they were under the shining lights. And when they sung their last song or danced their last dance or made their last movie and you heard so-and-so has died because overdose, accidental, suicide. They had so much. We all make that mistake of saying they had something to live for. When in reality, their vision, my vision was, I had nothing to live for. Here's what they want. What did I write here? I just want to stop the pain. Sometimes that pain can be like a cyclone because you never know how you're going to feel, and money does not claim the person. Being broke does not claim your feeling of, I just want to die, I want to live. I want to live. I didn't want to die, I wanted to live. I want to just stop the pain. How many of you have felt like that? You just want to stop the pain. So you go to the quickest thing to get the pain, and a lot of these people that are dead now from overdose, they were suffering from something. Because sometimes we make the mistake of saying they're on drugs. Everything's at their disposal and they're on drugs. Keep remembering the reason. There is a reason for why people are recovering from something. And because I'm in the field that I'm in and I've studied about it, the recovery is often from pain. I'm going to say that a little louder. The recovering from something is oftentimes pain. Take a break for a little bit. I'll be right back. Gotta answer this call. Hey. Hello? Hold on. Hey. Hello? Can you hear me? I know. I just stopped the class to answer the phone. How are you? Oh, yeah, I want to hear my spiritual son give a talk. Yeah, he gave a part last night. He just became a servant. Yeah. So I'm just about to wrap up the school. I love you too. I'll call you back. Okay, love. Okay. So, pain. Recovery is from the root of pain. Pain is the root of recovery. Every person will tell you that. So, depression. Do you know enough about it? What is a famous quote you might want to ask? Let's think about that. What would you say to a depressed person? Well, you might say, well, many people say, I'm suffering. I feel like I'm drowning. No one notices. I don't feel like living. Like me, I felt like getting out of it was so hard to just get out of the bed. I wish I could disappear. That was a big one for me. I didn't see being happy. But I want to remind you that depression is treatable. You can get better. I want you, especially those who can relate, who have been through any of this, to know to take one day at a time. You see, getting me up out of bed wasn't the start. It was the opening up of the curtains to let the sunshine in and let me out of the darkness. To be able to realize that there's a whole life. And she gradually helped me to see it. I want to live, and I want every one of you who is going through something to want what I've wanted so long. You are stronger than you think. You can win the victory toward your recovery. And sometimes when you are depressed, just remember, you don't have to stay Remember that. If you think that you can find a quote that inspires people who are depressed, send it to me. And we invite you for group number 3. We don't have any idea of what we're going to talk about until next week, but our list is up of the things that we are talking about. I want you to recover. Is it as easy as I make it sound? No way. But I can tell you this. I am living proof of depression. I am living proof and survivor of depression. We can break those chains if we really want to. All you need is a little bit of help. Not push, but help. I love this. Notice this. Such a beautiful thought. Our wounds are often the opening into the best and most beautiful parts of us. I'm going to read that again. Our wounds are often the opening into the best and most beautiful part of us. You know, sometimes we believe that we should never talk about our pain. If you are depressed, tell someone that you trust. If you feel overwhelmingly sad, give yourself permission to get diagnosed with that. Here's something to think about, that emotional pain, and I quote, is not something that should be hidden away and never spoken about. There's truth in your pain. There's growth in your pain, but only if it's first brought out into the open. You see, what the person did for me is started with gentle hands to open up and let the sunshine in, which is symbolic for letting someone in. And then gradually getting me out of the bed and into the outside, so that I could learn and discover that life does not have to be painful. Life does not have to dictate how you will feel and what you will feel, giving me a purpose. And then to look into a better life, a better future, and really knowing that there is a God who cares about me. I now have purpose in life. And if I could tell anyone, I would tell you that you are worth it. I want to thank you all for being here today. I'd like to thank the social media platforms that we get to do this with. I hope that you're leaving here today with something to think about. I want you to find out, look into what you can do for yourself and other people. Because among us, in any one of these chairs, there could be one or more persons depressed, and you won't even know it. Depression has no name. Depression is not chosen. or giving to particular people, circumstances of life can cause that. The Healing Center is all about helping you through, helping you get on the healing journey. Please listen carefully, not only with your heart, your mind, but with your eyes. Thank you guys for today. I want to tell you first and foremost, please come by the Healing Center. You can call, you don't have to register, you can come in live, and all the things that we do, we want you to be able to look for the positive. If you'd like to just come down and paint a butterfly, we have that for you. I'll give you a few minutes of silence or relaxation. We have the relaxation sessions that will help you heal through music. That's been going on. Of course, you have to make an appointment for that. Again, if you have no money, it is a free program, but we want you to consider the donations and how they work and what they do. I want to thank everybody for being here today, and I want to get some feedback from you all. We will meet every Friday, 10:30, and we will talk about issues with women, issues with men. Today our podcast was talking about women for Women's Day, or International Women's Month. Okay? Be kind to yourself and keep on living. And remember, our crisis line is 988. You may call into us, and we're always here to listen to you. At our direct connect, 1-888-721-9260. For all of you locals, 661-406-8419. Thanks, everybody. We'll have group 3 next week. We'd love for you to come on down to the Healing Center, 1317 East Palmdale Boulevard, Suite 18, number 18, and it's at the Healing Center. Share this with a friend or someone that you know, and someone that you think might be depressed and can use this. Thanks, guys.